Hello everybody, Perp here. How many times have you asked yourself which will be the best DAW ever, or just for you? That's why I prepared this video, because I know how hard it is and look for which of these 3 DAWs it's best for each production takes a lot of work and it's very annoying, isn't it? So before you get into this video, let me show you some of my latest release, link of them in the description. This was made by using a DAW. And what is a DAW? A DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, is an electronic device or application software used for recording, editing and producing audio files. A lot of DAWs already exist, but the most common are FL Studio by Imageline, Ableton by Ableton, Logic Pro by Apple, Pro Tools by Avid, Cubase by Sternberg, the same company that made one of the best synth plugins of all time, Silent One, and Reaper by Reaper. If you want a video explaining better about DAWs, let me know at the comment section. So let's answer the question, which DAW is perfect for you? Fruity Loops Studio or just FL Studio? In my opinion, it's the best DAW for making some generic EDM such as Deep House, House, Big Room and much more. Of course this works with all other genres. Because it's the best DAW that I use, and to be honest, I fucking love. Only costing 89 euros. For just the DAW and some native plugins, it's the cheapest price, and 289 euros with all plugins. To work on FL Studio, you will need, for Windows users, you need to have at least Windows 8, and Mac users, you need to have Mac OS 10.13.6. 4GB of free disk, 4GB RAM, I recommend you to have 8 or higher, and a very expensive CPU, for example, Intel Pentium. This was my first CPU, now I have an Intel i7. What I want to say with that is how more powerful your CPU is, more synths and effects you can run. For me, it's the only DAW that has the most extensive list of native plugins of all DAWs, thus having 65 FX plugins, 55 native plugins, at least at the last version 20.7.1. Organization and personalization. Starting with this, you can easily differentiate between this DAW and other. By using FL Studio, you can make your project seem like a disco or just empty as fuck. This is awesome for those who are very organized and loves to see all their stuff clean as much as possible, as I do. Software stabilization. I have a very bad laptop to produce with an Intel Pentium, and it's the worst CPU that I know, cause it's the only one that I used before. I made a lot of good tracks, not good, and my latest tracks of course, but with a lot of effects on the mixer, a lot of synths, and it worked very well. So this is a very good thing and an awesome DAW for those who want to produce but can't have an expensive computer. Browser. This is a very cool feature that all DAWs must have. It's very good to your workflow. With the FL Studio browser, you can drag and drop some samples, including from other projects with project buttons. Comment if you want a video explaining better this feature. Drag some presets from your plugin database and much more. Short keys. I don't know about the other DAWs, but Fruity Loops have some cool and important short keys like Ctrl+S to save the project, F5 to open the playlist and much more. This is a must feature for your workflow. Stock plugins. So one of the most important things for a beginner is the native or stock plugins, because they don't know the beauty world of external plugins such as Silent One, Spire and much more. Since Fruity Loops have the most extensive plugin database compared to the other DAWs that I will talk later, 65 effects and 55 instrument plugins, it's good to know which stock plugin is good for what and when to use it. Design interface. In my opinion, as I said before, organization and interface is a very important thing to me, and this couldn't be missing. FL Studio have the most clean and intuitive guide of all DAWs mentioned of this video, and it's kinda stressful for those who are starting, but the learning curve it's very awesome, I swear you. FL Studio Mobile? Really mobile? Yeah, that's true, man. ImageLine is so perfect that they thought about those people that can't work at computer for some unknown reason. I can't say how much similar the original software FL Studio for PC is, but it's a unique company that created for mobile devices. This is somewhat unique. Workflow. Some random guys tell that Fruity Loops have the worst or kinda fucked up thing compared to the other DAWs. In my opinion, they just come from the most simple DAW ever created. Plugin management. This is a very stressful thing for those who have a lot of plugins, as I do, and want to open a new one. This is a plugin management or plugin picker. I call plugin picker. You can call however you want. Cause it's very confused and will total lag your computer, has occurred a lot of times to my old garbage laptop. But don't worry, you can easily control this by click at the plus button in the channel rack and you can choose all the plugins you have, instead of open the plugin picker. Limiter. If you are a beginner, you probably don't know that when you will just open a new blank project at FL Studio, will random appear a plugin called Limiter at your master. Basically, this plugin will limit everything around some specific dB, and this will kinda fuck with all your mix sounds and especially your master. So please turn off the limiter by just turn down the knob. It's very simple, as you can see. Tempo automation. Imagine this situation. You and your friend, cause it's important to collab on music industry, wants to change the time by tempo automation. You can fuck up with every sample or exported pattern, cause they are not at stretched mode. And what does actually do? I don't know either, but it's important to change the mode to this when you want to change the time of your project by automation clips. I know you don't know which producer produced here, but there are a lot, such as Metro Boomin, 808 Mafia, DJ Mustard, I don't know if I pronounce well, Young Chop, Young Carter, Avicii, Darrow, K391, Martin Garrix. What? They appear with a Pokemon? Okay then. Ableton Live Suites, or just Ableton. This DAW is perfect to make some awesome stuff at dubstep or other genre with a lot of automation clips. Of course it works with all other genres too. Only costing 79 and 149 euros. I can't find what is the difference between those two, to be honest. To work on Ableton you will need, for Windows users, you need to have at least Windows 7. So this is better than FL Studio? No, let's see. And Mac users, you need to have Mac OS 10.6. 3 GB of free disk, 4 GB RAM, I recommend you to have 8 or higher, and a very expensive CPU again. This DAW just have 36 FX plugins, 12 native plugins. It's very good for the beginning and it's a cool start, but you want some professional by using stock plugins? Nah. So from subreddits, reviews, blogs and some other place where I've searched, they all said that exists a lot of samples at Sweet version with a high quality H1 and very impressive, more than other DAWs I've never experienced, but I want to try one day. Design. The Ableton design are very clean, simple and minimalist. I can't deny this because it's white and just this makes a real difference since dark theme to a clean and futuristic interface. Performance. Some random guys wrote that the performance and workflow of Ableton are very nice compared to FL Studio and other DAWs. It's the other's opinion, I can tell you mine because I have never used it, but take a look at some tutorials videos about workflow in Ableton. MIDI recording. This is a very cool and important feature for those that are constantly working with MIDI keyboards, real drums, working with these at the studio. This is a very cool and important feature for recording studios, because these are very efficient and important to them. Of course, the other DAWs have those features too. Easy sampling. Instead of making new patterns, and when you see the fucking messy project that you have with a lot of patterns in your FL Studio project, here is different. You can just drag and drop the samples and there's no patterns there. I mean, step sequencers. Easy to crack. I lied to you. I'm sorry. I told that I have never used Ableton before, but that's a lie. When I got stressed for the first time with my FL Studio Baby, yep, I tried to crack Ableton to see how it looks like working on it, and to be honest, was the easiest thing that I have made in my whole music career. I mean, don't crack. But it's very simple compared to FL, I swear. Very organized. It's very organized compared to other DAWs, especially Fruity Loops. The automation clips on every Ableton video appear at front of each MIDI pattern, and that's a lot. No curved automation. There's no curved automations for some reason at Ableton Live 8, and that's fucked when you want to make a cool and catchy pitch bend or filter effect. Stock plugins. Some random guys have told into subreddits that some stock or native plugins aren't so good in comparison with other DAWs. I don't know which plugin they thought, but here's some huge names that work here, such as Dada Life, Rumpig Mr. Editor. Okay, that's fine now. C418, that you know for Minecraft, of course. Deadmau 5, Diplo, Virtual Riot, and Zen World. Logic Pro. This DAW is perfect, really perfect, I swear, to record vocals, audio, podcasts, and much more relation with that. Of course, you can use to produce your shitty house track, but I don't recommend for that purpose. This is one of the most expensive DAW that I have found, and it's really fucked up to give that money for a DAW. 199 is too much for a poor guy like me. To work on Logic Pro, you will need, for Mac users, you need to have Mac OS 10.8.4, 1GB of free disk, 4GB of RAM, I recommend you to have 8 or higher, like other DAW, and a very expensive CPU again and again and again and again. As I said before, this DAW is perfect for those who want to record audio or work with the podcast, so you don't need too much as other DAWs have to make this purpose possible. Simplicity. Simplicity is the key, right? For Avid is the same thought when he talk about DAWs. I have saw this from a subreddit and they just said that Logic Pro have one of the simplest guys of all DAWs. Native sounds. Some random guys just tell there that exists a lot of good and high quality samples, loops such as breaths, hits and much more. I highly recommend you to save those good samples because other DAWs don't have. Stock plugins. Here you can get a lot of professional sounds and touched by some of the best stock plugins of all DAWs, some like Logic Beat Crusher, Linear Phase EQ and some more random plugins. For me it's random because I don't use. Workflow. These DAW for workflow at podcasts and records are just awesome. I don't know how much more than just these, but what I can tell you guys is if you're looking for a very good and awesome DAW to work at your vocals because you don't know how to sing, you can use Logic Pro. Free sponsor. Yo. MIDI records. For some reason, all Reddit users love to record the MIDI keyboard of day. If you want to use, you know where to find. It's the red button of your DAW, not at your random hidden laboratory. Mac OS users only. They probably hate Windows users because this DAW is for Mac OS users only. I don't know what the fuck they have against us, but what did we do today? I don't know. Learning curve. How about the learning curve at this DAW, Mr. Perp? Very good question, man. It's hard learning, and I will let you know why. Simply. We here don't know, but it's true. Logic Pro have the most hardening learn curves of all those. I don't know why. Ultra Beat. There will be some useless plugins, and that's true. It's a ultra beat, but probably will be more brothers of him out there. I know that's kinda relative since you can use some plugins for some stuff and your enemy will use by other stuff. So that's relative, man. Don't worry with that. Just don't use. Lagging guy. I know that the interface guy, workstation, or whatever you want to call them, have to be with the least lag or as optimized as possible. And some users at Reddit just call this DAW as the most lagging interface in the whole earth. Stock plugins. Imagine this situation. You're at 2050 and you open your DAW called Logic Pro. Already open it, you open a plugin inside that and you see the interface of 9020. Yep, this is basically what some random people at forums such as Reddit and other places tell about some stock plugins. Here's some cool producers that produce here, guys such as Swedish House Mafia, Alesso, Daft Punk, David Guetta, and this is an exclusive photo by Nico Romero. Take a look. Oh, wrong photo again, editor. Oh, thank you. And that's it, people. This is what I can find for those 3 DAWs. If you want for some reason that I do this for the other DAWs, plugins or whatever you want, just let me know. Please share this awesome video to your producer friends. I hope they like as well. Hope you had enjoyed and see you next week with another awesome remake.